Greetings. Today I'm going to do the third video in the 2018 YouTube Pagan Challenge for Facebook group called the ABCs of Paganism, and I'm up to letter C. And today it's all about C is for cupboard. C for cupboard. Coincidentally, before I get to cupboard, I want to say, in a way, C is also for clutter. And I'm going to talk to you about clutter a little bit before I talk about cupboards. Because for part of my setting intentions of this new year here, and I share this with many other friends, both within the pagan community and with my other friends as well. This year, many people are very into organizing themselves. I think we all feel that if we are better organized, we are much more productive. And as witches, we have to say, if we are more organized, we are more powerful. I don't want to call anybody out. I really don't want to do that. I do want to say, though, that I have quite a few friends in the different areas of my life, not just within the pagan community, but also with my reenactment community and other friends that I've had in my life that really verge on the realm of being a hoarder. This is something that really I didn't see very often when I was young. I didn't really see it all. I wasn't really aware of it. Even as a young adult, you know, people had different levels of cleanliness in their homes, and I wasn't really one to judge them as long as, you know, I didn't have to go and eat off of a dirty table or, you know, use a dirty bathroom or whatever. Didn't really judge, you know, it wasn't up to me to judge. Everybody's life is different, and of course, when I became a part of the community, the historical community that I'm a part of, I started to see a lot of hoarding, what I would call hoarding. Or shall I say, not just hoarding of everything, but, you know, people are so into researching and doing products, authentic historic projects, that they have, you know, they tend to have a lot of started projects with all over their house. Nothing really ever getting finished, a lot of them. And I fell into the trap too. I had so much, you know, I saved so much fiber, you know, for spinning when I started getting into, you know, I already liked fiber because I did knitting and things, and I got into weaving, and I got into knot binding, and then I got into spinning my own fiber, and I got into dyeing my own fiber with natural dyes, and then I got into, you know, scouring my own wool to you know, processing my own wool from a sheep top to it starts to add up. It starts to add up, and books and books and books and instruments, and we have instruments, and we just start collecting. You know, things that you're interested in, you start collect. Well, a witch does the same thing. And I find that the more you do practice, and I'm talking about the more you do things like spell work, or make your own incenses, or make your own soaps, or make your own salves, or tinctures, or teas, or whatever you do, you start to collect a lot of stuff. That's only natural. It's only natural. But it gets to a point, I have to say, it gets to a point where that stuff that you're collecting, if it's not organized and not kept under control is another C word, it's just a cluttered mess. And I have to say, there's nothing magical about a cluttered mess. If you've ever been into somebody's house where there's just stuff everywhere, and the ale is stale, and you know, there's no place to do anything magical, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm embracing my smoky quartz, because my smoky quartz is really being put into work today, because I've been getting into cupboards, cleaning them out, putting stuff everywhere. And this is after, you know, I did all the cleansing on my table here to do a reading. I just did a reading last last week, and I had just gone through a lot of getting the holiday. This is the room that I did my holiday prepping in, you know, making gifts and things. This is the table I sat at, and then I was going to do reading. So I did a lot of work, you know, getting it all cleansed and getting my space cleansed, getting rid of anything, excuse me, anything that might interfere with the reading. And then here I am today ripping apart my cupboards and organizing. But if I don't have, you know, if there's nothing more frustrating than if you're going to go to try to do something, maybe a spell, you're going to do a spell or something, or just, you know, I feel like, you know, making some some tinctures, and I'm looking through my herbs or something, or for teas or whatever, and I can't find what I want. There's nothing more irritating. And the longer you have to look for it, and you find, well, it's not even where it's supposed to be in the same cupboard it's supposed to be in, you get into a mood, you know, you're starting to get into a mood, and then nothing that you do with that ingredient is going to be good. It's like trying to bake Christmas cookies when you're stressed. You got to be in a good mood. You got to be in a happy spirit, you know, place to do it, place of love to do your holiday baking. So, you know, you usually put on holiday music or holiday movies or whatever it is that helps you. Okay, same kind of thing when you're going to do witchy things. So if you're somebody who is new and you are starting to collect things, give everything a lot of scrutiny before you bring it into your house. Is this something I really need? Now, I know you're going to be watching videos. You're going to watch a video, and you're going to see, because I do the same thing, and I do the same thing. And I'm going to look, and somebody's going to show me what's in their cupboard, and they're going to show me, oh, look, they have, yeah, I don't know what it could be. Cat whisker. Oh, she's got cat whiskers? What does she do with cat whiskers? I don't have any cat whiskers, so I better go get some cat whiskers. You see my point? Oh, she has stingy nettles. I don't have stingy nettles. Should I go get some stingy nettles? What am I gotta get some stingy nettles, or I gotta go get some, whatever it is. No, you don't. I'm gonna say no, you don't. Unless you really know you're gonna be using it for something. If it's something you have seen somebody use, and you want to try the same thing. You want to try, like a while back, I think I showed you in my prosperity altar. I think that's what it was. I don't know what it is I made in there. Something of tequila of Lady Grave Dancers. I used her recipe for my oil, you know, for the prosperity order that she did, the money oil. And we've been using that in there. And the ingredients, if I didn't have the ingredients for that oil, according to her recipe, I was going to go get the oil. I knew I was going to use it right away. But I wouldn't buy the ingredients if I wasn't, or go collect the ingredients if I wasn't going to find it, if I wasn't going to use it. That's what I want to say. Because it's so easy to get overrun by stuff. And if your cupboards are so, you know, it's not about how much stuff we have. It's not about how much stuff we have. It's about how we use the stuff. And if we can do with less, you should have less. Because those spaces, the space is precious. The space around our stuff, or the space that our stuff is in, is precious. If we clog it all up and get it all musty, and you can't even keep clean because you have so much stuff, and you can't even, you know, have any way to air out the space or dust out the space or clean out the space, it's not going to work for you. It's not going to be magical for you. And that's not a judgment. It's really not it's not a judgment. It's really the truth. It's really the truth. Now, we're all messy. You know, witches are messy. We're messy. I burn incense in my house on charcoal discs all the time. I burn candles. I burn different kind of candles. I burn some really clean candles, but I also burn some paraffin. My black candles are paraffin wax because black, I want a black. It's more important to me that my candles are black than that they're burning maybe not so clean. But I am able to open my windows. I'm able to, you know, So that's not a problem for me. If it's a problem for you, then I would, you know, you need to make your own decision. Okay. So anyway, this video is about the cupboards, what's in the cupboards, and it's not about, I want to show you what's in my cupboards because I think you should have your cupboards like mine, because no, you probably shouldn't. They're never going to be like mine. Yours are yours. But I have a couple ideas in my cupboards, the way I do little tips that I want to say, that I organize things. If you have one space and you have your stuff in one, you know, space, you're really easy. But if you have a lot of stuff and you can't keep all of your stuff in one cupboard, really organize by, if you have one altar space, organize by type, organize by all of your herbs and resins and flowers in one place, all of your, you know, the things that you're going to use, all of your altar cloths, you know, those kind of things in one place. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to show you the cupboards, and then I'll be back here just to wrap it up. Okay. I hope the light is not too bright in here. I tried to get this done earlier before the sun came in the back of the house here, but I think it looks okay. I hope so. Anyway, you should recognize this altar if you have watched any of my past videos. You probably have seen this quite a few times. This is the altar that is on my sun porch on the west side of my house. This is my healing altar. And you have noticed probably that it is on the top of a cupboard. And there's the bottom of the cupboard. And there's the top of the cupboard. And then here's, it has a cupboard there. Okay, this is one of my witch's cupboards, and I'm going to give you a little look and see what we have in here. This is one of the ways that I organize some things. I try to keep things relevant to this area of the house in this one. First of all, you probably have noticed, and I've done a video on this before, that I do have a protection on this cupboard. I don't know if you can see, I have a string of bells and an evil eye there on the door. This is in a part of my house that gets a lot of traffic, a lot of people coming in this room. And it's not that anything is completely private, I just don't want anybody getting into my cupboard without my permission. So I have this little spell on this door to prevent that from happening. But here, I'll show you. I'm going to open it up for you right now. It's no big deal. To show you what I keep in here. Whoops. I'm really not good at using just my left hand. Okay. And getting the glass off of there helped a lot. Okay, the bottom shelf here is just some of my books. These are mostly herbal books. Reference books, but mostly a lot of them are herbal books. And some things for teas and some things for some of the information I use on my stones. Not a lot. Not a lot. And then up on the next shelf I have, here's candles, a supply of candles. I like keeping my candles. These are my novena candles that I use on this altar all the time, and some other plain candles. Things that I use on this altar that I can see, okay, what do I have? You know, I like to be able to see that at one shot. And some things that I use all the time on this altar as well. I use a variety of roses and things, and patchouli, and frankincense I have back there. I use a lot. Some teapots and some more rose petals and things up on the top. Okay? No big deal. I don't know if you're interested or not. In this cupboard up here at the top, we'll start at the top. It's just candle holders, and that's about it. A few candles, but mostly candle holders. They've got all kinds. It's a nice deep cupboard, and for me to use it, I really have to step up. I really have to step up and get it. But that way, I try to keep a lot of them in one place, so I don't have to search when I need a candle holder. I can get what I need. Okay. Now in this cupboard is just some of the things that I use a lot on this altar. There's some catnip, mugwort, nettle leaf, you know, cat claw and cat whisker. Some of those things I use, of course, when I'm doing spells for my animals, healing spells. There's tinctures in here. some of my inks, some of my oils. Again, some oils that I use for my for my pets, and some other things, and a collection of some of my artificial flowers. Oh, that's where the light's bad, sorry. Some things like that. And then, of course, more tinctures on the bottom. So I'm trying to keep a little bit organized. It's a nice dark cupboard for tinctures, so that's good. And then down below here, this is my holiday cupboard. This cupboard here, this whole cupboard is pretty much reserved for a Samhain and Day of the Dead things, decorations, candles, special candles, and things on that side. And then on the bottom, this is mostly for Yule. A little bit of, there's also some spring things in there for like Beltane, things like that. Some other candle holders, just some generic ones, some more candles. And in the drawer, I'm in my own light. There, that should be good, right? Candles, matches, battery candles, tapers, tea lights. We use a lot of the matches, and this is charcoal dust in here. So everything where I need it. I really like that feeling that I don't have to wait around, search all over the house to look for something. Okay, so I'm going to cut here, take you into the parlor. Okay, I had to do this again because the last time I did this, I did push record. Okay, so anyway, here's the view that you see. So I've showed this altar to you several times, and I think you do know this whole setup here, the cupboard above and below this altar, are all made from bits of repurposed from the kitchen remodel that we did several years ago. They're parts of my old kitchen cupboards. And I'm not going to show you now, but I have a floor-to-ceiling cupboard here, double cupboard beside, which I have some more things in there, but that's mostly things, you know, that I have made. Some of the things I sell, some of my socks and stuff, and my soaps, and some of my candle molds and soap molds and those kind of things. So it's not that interesting. It's just a lot of stuff. But anyway, this cupboard, this cupboard above my altar is one of my favorites. So I'm going to open this up because this, when I open it up, oh, it smells so heavenly. It just smells so glorious. I can't even tell you. Anyway, this is my attempt. I'm always redoing it. It's my attempt to organize my herbs and my flowers and my resins. Oh, I think we all, if you use these kind of things, we all suffer the same plight. Trying to be able to find things, to have what you need, but not get overwhelmed. You know, but some way to organize it so you can see it. I got these little shelves from IKEA and added to it. That seems to help a little bit. But, you know, and I try to put some sense to it, to what's in there. You know, like resins on one side and flowers and bits and some of the things I don't use quite so often up above. And then, of course, they have some, when we buy some of the things in bulk, we always come into the position when, you know what, until they're really open and we use a lot of it, we have these big bags of stuff that we can't really do much with. But anyway, it's working pretty good. And then, of course, up on the top shelf, of course, I have to get a stool to reach up there. But this is just some of my candle, my candle making supplies. I have some molds in the tin, and this is one of my pitchers that I melt my wax in, and some wicks and dyes and those kind of things. I don't perfume my candles, so I don't have to use any scents in my candles, but I do use the colors, so. And there's some molds, some special molds. So anyway, that's that. It's not a big deal, but oh, it's just, you know, I like to share. I like to share, what I have. Maybe it helps us all organize. Okay. Okay, you probably recognize this chair where you see me most of the time. But did you know, right beside here, right beside me, is one of my witch's cupboards. It's just an old cupboard. Actually, my husband made this cupboard for me. He found some old windows. These are actually old windows, and he made like a bookshelf to put on. I'm going to open the glass so you can get a better look at what I have. I'm opening both doors. I'm opening. Up above I just stored, that's some tarot decks that I don't use very often. And the boxes and books that go with some of my tarot decks. Yes, that's a piñata. I don't know I have it, I just do. Okay, and then this cupboard is all about things that I use for doing readings and stuff. So here's a collection of tarot cards, and the box is my traveling, one of my traveling kits for tarot. It has several decks in it and some other tools that I use for cleansing the space, etc. Some little books, mortar and pestle. I got my bird's nest that I love so much that the bird's made it out of my dog. Some seeds, some more crystals, and some in bowls of crystals and other little spelly bits. On the top shelf up here I have some teacups, more teapots, some things that I'm collecting, some service things. There's my red clover tincture that I'm aging that you saw me make. If you saw my last video, B is for brew. That was the tincture that I made. Still having it age some more. And then of course here on this shelf, more about teacups, more mortar and pestles. These are some cordials that I made. I was looking at the date. Oh my goodness. The date on this, I think I said, I forget. They're like 10 years old. But this is a pear cordial and a butterscotch cordial, because I love to have a tarot and a nip. Tarot and a nip. And this is something that I do a lot. Maybe a good idea. I can show you right now. I just copy pictures off of, I don't know if you can see that, off the internet that I like. Some images of some of the gods or goddesses. And then on the back, this is a Hecate, and I wrote on the back about Hecate and her dogs and some of the things that she is, how we can relate to her, how she can help us, some of the ways she can help us, as a reminder for me or my husband. So I keep those, and I have them out, and if you notice, I'll show you again. When I'm finished, I'll spin around. I have a frame. I have a picture frame on my altar at this moment with a photo, with an image inside, and I change them out every once in a while. I just put a different image depending on whatever god or goddess I want to work with. So that's a little point. Okay, so down at the bottom, there's my corn dolly that I use a lot of times on this altar in here. Some other spell bits in the basket. The tin is full of votives, all different kinds that I have made. A couple more candle holders. Feathers. These are candles that are particularly to a particular god or goddess, or directional candles, those kind of things. Some journals. On the bottom here we have some charcoal dish storage, some more roses, some waters. I have waters in a couple of my altars. I have ocean water, river water, rain water. I use different waters on my altars. And then of course on the bottom there's some beading supplies for some of my jewelry making. So that's that. Just stuff that I would use when I was in this particular room. I do not have any charm on this cupboard. Particularly, I just have stuff hanging on there. I'm going to turn around and show you what I meant about the frame. Just one second here. You see, there I have. There I have the frame. And I just put an image on the frame, in the frame. I don't even put it inside. I just usually just put on the front of the glass there. Because each of the photos, not photos, each of the images are laminated, so they stay really nice. Okay? So, there are my 3 altars. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I hope I haven't confused everybody. You probably have guessed that I filmed this kind of out of order because I wanted to be sure to film the cover in the contents of the cupboard, show the contents of the cupboards before I lost my light, and now it's starting to get dark. So I could do this part with using other kind of lights. So I might have confused you a little bit if I talk in the past or the future tense, the wrong tense, concerning what I was talking about. So, but anyway, I did want to just wrap this up and add another, if I could, another point or two. Number one, I want to say, I think it's a little overwhelming when I show you 3 cupboards. 3 witches cupboards. I talk about another huge cupboard that I have, because I know in the past I've showed you that I also have in my bedroom altar, I have some storage in there that I use as well. I also have some storage in the altar in the hallway. So, but a couple of things to remember. I am, first of all, in a house. I'm in a house, a nice sized house. And there are 2 of us living here, 2 witches living here, so stuff for 2 people. Plus, you know, I'm an old woman. I've had a lot of years to collect stuff, so, and a lot of the stuff that I use is just stuff which I use for witchy purposes. It's just stuff that I've had anyway, that I've just repurposed. So, you know, especially if you're a newer witch or a younger witch or somebody who lives in a smaller space than I do, I don't want to cause you any kind of grief because you can't do what I do. Not that you probably need to do what I do. I'm just, you know, I'm a very active witch. I'm a very busy witch, and I do a lot of things. Not everybody does all the things, you know, that I do. I mean, I do make a lot of my own soaps and jewelry and salves and tinctures and teas. I do all those things, which it's not required that you do that. You know that, so. But anyway, the more you do, the more stuff you're going to have. But for those of you, I wanted to give another little shout out to those of you who have to really, you know, keep it, or you wish to keep it rather secret, your things secret. You know, my things aren't really out in the open too much, other than, well, that blue cupboard that I have out on my sun porch, it's closed. It's closed. The only thing that people can see, of course, they can see the altar there, but the only thing people can see in there are books and teapots and some candles. There's really nothing that anybody can see that's questionable. The candles, as a matter of fact, are, for all intents and purposes, they look like the candles I might have had when we were practicing Catholics. So that's nothing that's surprising. Okay. This room, I do have this room in here, which I did show you, this little cupboard here, this cupboard that my husband made out of the old windows. Yeah, you can see into that cupboard very easily. Again, not too much stuff. There's nothing, you know, weird about a teapot or cordials or beading equipment, you know, things like that. The things that are private, are behind closed doors, or they are inside something else. You know, I utilize a lot of boxes, a lot of little chests, a lot of baskets, little containers where I can put things inside. Like my tarot kit of the cards that I carry with me, it just looks like it's an old jewelry box. It's just an old jewelry box. It happened to have been my mother's jewelry box, one of her jewelry boxes. I have in there several tarot decks. I have crystals. I have, you know, whatever I use for a tarot reading, a smudge stick, etc., is in that little box. But if you would see it in my cupboard, it's just a box. You just see the box. You don't see the stuff. You don't have to see the stuff. Yeah, I do have jars of things like graveyard dirt and, you know, I don't know what kind of things that somebody might look at and go, oh, glory, what's she doing with that? Well, that's behind a closed door. And nobody has any business in my cupboard in those doors. Okay? So that's just what I want to say. You know, there's so many ways to keep things you know, you can keep things, you can be very subtle. You can be very subtle in your storage. But don't be afraid to store things where you need them. That's what I want to say. Don't think you have to hide something in the back of your closet because you think somebody might, what if they see it? Well, put it in a container, put it in a box, whatever, someplace where you're going to be close by. Because if you have to go, this is why, if you have to go and find your ingredients to do something, you're not going to do it. Having the things where you need it enables you to be active and to do, you know, get your witch on, you know, do your stuff, you know. The more stuff that you do, the more that you practice, the more, I don't mean practice making perfect, but practicing as in doing your spells, doing your, making your tinctures, making, it's more activity that you have, the better at it you get, and the more power that you get, the more that you're able to do as well. Okay. Does it make sense if I'm going to read my tarot cards in here? Does it make sense for my tarot cards to be in the bedroom? Tarot cards should be here. You know, the ones that I read all the time. All the time. In a box on my table, in a silk scarf on my table, and any other ones that I want to use right there within reach of me in that cover. Okay, so that's enough. I don't want to go any further. Anyway, that was that. I hope you enjoyed it. It wasn't as exciting as you thought it was going to be, I bet. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming to my channel as always. I'm Rebecca the Good Wife, and I wish you blessings.